Hi, it's Barb, Meeple PhD, and my favorite play for August 2022 is Marco Polo 2 in the Service of Khan. I'm less familiar with the original game in this series, so everything I'm saying is about the second version, but I think they are very similar in some ways at least. So in this game, you are playing a trader who is traveling the Silk Road, trying to set up trading posts, collecting resources, and fulfilling contracts. It is a dice worker placement game, so that at the beginning of each round, you're rolling 5 dice and then planning on where to put them on different spots around the board. Now, often you want higher values for some of the actions you want to do. It gives you a little more freedom with where you place things, and it can also up the number of times you can take a specific action. Some of the spots, allow you to take the same action up to the number of times that you have pips on the dice that you play there. That means that the lower rolls can be a bit of a detriment, but there are ways to mitigate that. You at the beginning of the round, if you collectively roll really low dice, you'll get a little bit of compensation in the form of coins or camels, which are resources in the game. But then there are also ways to spend your camels in order to manipulate those dice, or even to bring a new die into your pool just for that round. So while you are at the mercy of the dice, you're not entirely at the mercy of the dice. You have some ways to mitigate. And I usually find that even with the lower rolls, there are places I can play those. Maybe I only need to take an action once, so having a 1 or a 2 to place there doesn't hurt me very much. Now, throughout the game, you're going to be using those dice primarily to collect resources or to move your pawn around this map in order to set up new trading posts in different cities. But the more cities that you visit, the more income you might get at the beginning of the round, or you might have additional actions that you can take at those spots. And if you're the first one at a trading post, you also get a special bonus. What I like about this game is it's another one of those games that feels really tight. Like you don't have enough actions for what you want to do throughout the game. And I don't know why I like that, but I really like just trying to maximize what I can do in a game like that, where I'm almost a little frustrated that the game is too short or doesn't have enough actions, but I still feel like I've built up, some kind of something by the end of it. But it also leaves me at the end of the game thinking about it. Like, could I have done something a little bit differently? The other thing about this game is that each player has a different leader that they are playing, which gives them a special power. Each of those feels overpowered, and I find during the game that I'm looking at my neighbor thinking, I wish I had that power. At the same time, they're looking at me and thinking the same thing, which to me tells me that they're fairly well balanced, even if they feel a little overpowered at the time. But that can also help define what strategy you use. One of the leaders has 2 pawns that you move around this map, and so maybe you're concentrating more on, making a bigger trade route. And so just finding those different strategies that work with your leader and with your dice rolls, it just is so satisfying to me. One drawback is that the teach for this can be kind of onerous. I haven't had to teach this one yet to a new player. We picked this up shortly before the pandemic, and so we haven't had a lot of people to the house to teach it to, but I do know that one of the people that I play games with, she had learned the original, and it was at a game night where I was at a different table, and they were still learning the game after my table had played and completed a whole game. And so she's a little reluctant to jump into this one. I think I can get the teach down faster than that at this point. I know the game well enough, but it is something to be aware of. So if this sounds at all interesting, you might want to look it up at a game cafe or see if a friend has it. Otherwise, I will see you next month, and you can take a look for me on the internet as @MeeplePhD on Instagram and Twitter. I have a blog at meeplephd.com, and I have my own YouTube channel where I connect astronomy and board games, which is also Meeple PhD. We'll see you next month.